This is the INKPULP podcast.
Holy crap, we finally got our acts together and we're live. Live-ish.
Yeah.
Live to tape.
I know we just wasted a good half an hour fucking around.
Yeah, putzing around. Good morning, gentlemen. This
Good
is episode,
morning.
what is this? Episode
126.
126 on the INKPULP podcast. I am your co-host. I am the Barney Fife to this guy's Andy Griffith. I am the B. Arthur to this guy's Ruben Flanahan.
We're the Golden Boys.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, by the way, Matteo again showing eventually you're not the guest anymore, you're just the guy.
No,
Yeah.
Eventually you won't even need me.
guy.
It'll just be you and Shawn.
I'm the
We're
guy.
doing it again. This is the 5th episode that we're together. Am I keeping that number right? 5th or 6th?
yeah.
That feels
So-
really, really good.
By the way, something came up into my head when you said I'm the co-host.
Yeah.
There's a cool joke by Delia, which I'm gonna butcher, but
Yes, of course.
you know.
Yeah.
But he says about the co-pilot. We always think about the co-pilot like if it's a less important pilot, but like basically the co-pilot is just the second guy who says that's it, the guy who's slower and takes more time to say he's the pilot. Basically, these pilots, they have the same exact responsibilities on the on the
It
flight,
could be-
but who says this first is the pilot, and the other one is like, okay, I'm the co-pilot.
All right,
like
listen,
culture.
number one, you said it perfectly. You butchered the fuck out of that joke. So congratulations.
I really
You
butchered
did
it.
that perfectly. Secondly, it would be I could pretty much argue that in this thing, I am not the slowest person on this podcast. So I may be the co-pilot, but certainly not the slowest. Shawn, speaking of slow, how are you doing, pal? How's things on your side of the world? I feel like there's 3 hours difference between us, 2 hours difference, but
3 hours between you and I.
right, and
Yes,
15
sir.
hours between you, me, and Matteo. I feel like it's 6
Yeah,
days.
a lot.
It's
There's 6
7
days
days.
difference.
It's
Mateo's a week ahead of us.
March.
He's in February 2025.
Mateo's at Emerald City already.
That show, by the way, Emerald City 2023 was awesome.
I've done it. I made a ton of money while I was there. Ate some really, really good food. Speaking of, let's talk about that really quick. We are a week away from Emerald City.
From Emerald City, yeah.
Yeah, both Matteo and Shawn are going to be tabling. Do you guys know your table numbers?
No. Do you?
Responsible professionals. I'm
They
dealing with
usually
here.
send that information to
I was
Jason.
planning on looking
Look,
for that.
we're just gonna screech this podcast to a halt
tomorrow.
as you guys go on the fucking website to figure out your tables. Anyway, well, I'm sure you guys are gonna put it out on your social media. I wish that we.
Yeah.
All right, so what the dates are February. Excuse me, March. When is it? When
March
is the show?
2nd to
Mhm.
March 5th, I think.
March
Yes,
2nd, March
you're right.
5th.
Well, by the
Shawn
way,
and-
like
yeah.
when this episode's gonna, when is this episode?
It's gonna come out after the con.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Even
All right,
if we
but
say
anyway, after
table.
the point,
Right.
you guys had an amazing time.
yeah,
But I love talking about it after the fact. Okay, so March 2nd to March 5th, you guys are going to be there at the Essential Sequential booths with a bunch of amazing people that's in the crew, right? I'm going
yeah.
to be joining you very briefly for just a day because I miss you guys. I'm going to be able to hang out. I'm going to take the train from my neck of the woods up there for a day, crash on your couch, and come right down because I have responsibilities.
What's how long's the trip from
4
from
hours.
your place? 4 hours.
Yeah. I'm going to blink and I'm going to be there. I'm just going to work on the train or whatever it is. So it's going to be great to seeing you guys. And Shawn's apparently got a bunch of dinner reservations set up while we're all hanging out together. So that's going to be great.
And you're coming Saturday night, Eric?
Saturday night. Yeah.
All right, we got that's our fancy Thai dinner.
So you're gonna sleep at our place?
Yeah, I'm going to crash
Okay.
on a pillow on your couch. I am that small and short.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because this is the first year actually that we found we went with a Airbnb. Usually we go with the hotel where everybody goes, which is that Sheraton.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sheridan.
But last year, I mean, in general, it's pretty expensive. But aside from that, like last year, they took a deposit beforehand of like
Mhm.
$3,000 each on each card. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they kept it for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, for Matteo, they
They
put a
put
long hold
that
on
money
it.
on hold for a long time.
And you said, F you, Sheraton, we're not doing that. You didn't know that they were going to do that this year, but that left enough of an impression on you. We're like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, plus, like they took both of our cards. So they had a total deposit of like $6,000.
It doesn't make sense to me. I clearly don't know the hotel business, but I hope they've got that worked out. 'cause
Look,
that's a
Eric, if
Yeah.
you had two guys walk up to your counter that look like Matteo and myself,
yeah.
you'd want
yeah.
you'd want a
What you're
serious
saying
insurance
is
policy.
the reason they the fact that they only took $3,000 from each of you
It's
was almost
surprising.
a compliment. They
Right,
should have
right.
taken the
Right.
clothes off your
Usually they hold like 5 or
I mean,
6.
look, we're lucky we had a room at all. So
Yeah, usually they tag you like with a like an identifying ring in your ear
Yeah.
so that you can't go too far.
But yeah, and listen, even if I come over there to the States just twice every year nowadays, so I wouldn't mind spending that money. I gotta admit, with the Airbnb, we're like saving so much money,
Yeah.
man.
For
yeah,
sure.
So much.
plus we're staying on the water. It's got a nice view.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be a it's
I
not gonna
think we're gonna be doing that from now
Moving
on.
forward.
Yeah, I think so. It feels more like an escape. Like you get away from all the con shit. Like the hotel is full of con stuff.
Yeah. Can I say this? And this is, I don't want to put a damper on your guys' enthusiasm, but I'm not talking about the hotel or the Airbnb. I'm talking about the city of Seattle overall.
Mhm.
I don't know if it has recovered from all the craziness that happened during the pandemic.
No, and
So
we
do
were
you
just there
remember?
in August, so we saw it.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
The
It's
drugs,
Especially that street that takes
Pike Street.
from the show
Yeah.
to the docks.
Yeah, the
It's
homeless.
rough.
pretty rough, especially early in the morning. You have
Yeah.
naked people like walking. It's
Lots
impressive. I
of
mean,
drugs.
it's always been that way, but
Yeah.
it's
It's
increases every
it's
year.
it's amplified. Like we saw a bunch of people just saw people shooting up right in front of you on the street.
No.
Yeah. I mean, not a whole bunch of people at once, but I saw it happen once, and I think Huddleston said he saw it happen once.
Ish.
So
To be
I
honest, the only
remember-
thing is that nobody's really aggressive. Like it's
Yeah.
not like I don't know the
Sure.
Tenderloin in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So nobody gives
Nobody's
a
bothering
fuck
you.
about
It's just the
nobody's
yeah,
bothering you,
bothers
and it's
you.
not like
Somebody maybe talks. It starts once you have a conversation, stuff like that. But in general, we've never had. This is my 8th time in Seattle. I never had any problem with anyone.
Yeah, I just remember making note of it the last time that I was in Seattle, and this was way pre-pandemic. I was like, oh, there's an uptick in the population of the people who the homeless population that was there.
yeah. It's gotten a little bit worse. It's not like Portland though, where it's so dramatically different from what
Yeah.
it was. I didn't see any like tent cities or stuff like that.
Okay.
It's always really weird for me because in Italy, unless you go to main cities like Rome or Milan, like real metropolis, it's really hard to see homeless people
Sure.
in Italy. So
anyway,
it's-
like I said, I don't want to
weird.
put a dark cloud on anything. I'm excited to see you guys. I'm excited to see what the new setup is like. More than anything, I'm excited to go back to that breakfast place that we always almost end up in, not just once, but multiple times during the stay.
I'm very
I love that
excited
place.
too.
I'm excited for that. Okay, so this is happening after the fact, so we're just kind of rubbing it in people's faces that we're going to be in that fucking show. All right, so what are we talking about next?
All right. Mateo's got stuff he wants to talk about. I've got a few topics, but I want to kick it off.
Yeah.
With so we're doing Lake Como. This is a pretty awesome thing we're going to be doing, and I want to pull up the pictures that I sent you, Eric.
All right, here we go. This freaking.
First, just pull up Matteo's picture.
I'm putting up. Okay, hold on. Stand by. I'll put up Maddie's picture. There we go. 1, 2, 3. How embarrassing. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah, look at Matteo. You look great. That's a really good picture.
Well, that was a lot of hair ago.
Yeah, how long?
That's how you measure it. Is like that was three hairs ago.
But that wasn't that long ago, was it? Was it that long ago, that picture?
I probably was. I would say 2018, 2017.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
All right.
half.
And that was
half
fresh
a century
after you
ago.
had the thing removed from your nose.
Was that? Sorry.
That was soon after you had that mole removed from your nose. The scar looks more fresh there.
Probably. Or maybe it's just the picture.
Yeah,
don't
I
hide.
don't remember. I got it removed in 2015.
Okay.
So
This was a few
highlight
years
his imperfections. You know.
Was that?
But Matteo, you were going for a little handlebar at the time. I remember.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I still used to take care of myself.
Good looking.
The only thing I remember, the thing that I keep flashing back on is one of the first times that counted, because Matteo refers to like the first time he ever met me was in San Diego, and he spoke very little English, and a bunch of San Diegoans took his money, that kind of a thing. He ended up in the middle of the desert trying to get a plane ride, whatever it is. Like that doesn't count. Yeah, I don't care about that. The first time I think I remember hanging out in full and in earnest with Matteo was at Seattle, which is a weird coincidence. And I have a picture of it, and we were so young.
Oh, right? You gotta pull it up next podcast.
I'll bring it up next time. But we were kids.
The first time Matteo and I
such enthusiasm together.
I mean, you were an adult, and I was a kid, but whatever.
Significantly handsomer than you. Like I was like a distinguished gentleman, and you were like a fucking toddler. You know what I mean?
To be honest with you, hey, I'm gonna throw you a compliment, but
yeah,
I think you look better now than you looked then.
See that's how you compliment. That's how
I
you
agree.
Thank you.
Yeah,
See,
I agree.
I gave you guys a compliment, and you're like, tell me something I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh fuck, man, these guys, freaking jerks.
Yeah, all right.
It's one of the first jokes that I ever learned to do in English. So I'm really fond to that joke.
You always have it in your back pocket, ready.
Yeah, I always do. Yeah, every time somebody throws me a compliment at me, it's just tell me something.
All right,
Eric, your mic is off. You don't sound like you're normal. Like normally, the sound on your mic is so much better than all of us, but you sound like one of us. Are you using the right mic?
Here, buddy. I'm right. I'm right into you. Hold on. Let me double check that I'm using the right mic.
Okay.
We're gonna fucking screech this thing to a halt again.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you with your ears, Shawn.
I knew it, man. The quality just wasn't there.
It wasn't there. You know what? I'm gonna be right back. You guys deal with whatever you're dealing with. Let me exit.
All right.
Okay, so Shawn.
Yeah.
We can talk shit about Eric now. No, I think he's still listening.
Yeah, he's still listening, but we can talk.
So why did you bring this pictures? Just to advertise our presence in Como? Or
nope.
Nope. Okay.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's just there's two handsome devils.
So this is your first year in Como, right?
Yeah. I'm really excited.
You're gonna love it. It's beautiful. It's a small town by the lake. It's amazing. The place where we're gonna be having the show is.
Yeah, it looks amazing. But look, they've got like.
All right, here we go. How's that?
There you go. I knew it. I need a little blood flow down there. I needed that Eric voice.
Oh, hey, Eric, Can you disappear again? It was nicer.
Yeah, hold on.
When you were awesome. So, as I was telling you, that place is fucking amazing. And
All right. Next picture. Pull up me.
All right. Pull up me like a child. Pull up me.
Pull up
the
me.
Sexy beast.
Yeah, I mean, look, Matteo and I, we do look like brothers. I mean, we really do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And also, like, we have this color, the ice color, which is really rare because it's green, but it's greenish with a touch of yellow. It's a weird, not really
I
usual.
wish I had a transformation tool for the two of you to just have you like kind of merge into, you know, the same. Anyway,
and we both look good with that kind of sunglasses.
Yes.
The Carrera style.
Yes, the
like
Carrera.
90s, late 80s, 90s style.
Yeah, those.
We both look good with that.
Absolutely. Now, Eric, let's. All right, Eric. When I saw this picture,
oh, Grandpa Eric.
I don't recognize you in this picture.
Yeah, you have a. It's not your usual look. I don't know. It's the eyes.
Something looks off.
What's the what is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's your eyes. Like normally you're like. It's probably because every time I look at you, I'm up here, but every time I see you, like
I like the way you said that. I like the way.
Almost got a spit take out of me. I just took a sip of water when you said that.
I like the fact that you're in you know, low key saying you are so short to me that I never.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I found it because here you're like this, you know, and I never see you this way. I always see you, from this angle.
When was this picture taken? Do you remember this picture being taken, Eric?
I don't really have like the ones that you have, Shawn, are like really super professional. I think the one that Matteo, I don't know what show that is, Matteo, that has the backdrop behind you. Clearly that was taken
it's
by
a show in Sicily.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of those in folders. I don't
me
take
neither.
those of photos.
But this looks like Eric. So if I had to guess, I think you were much heavier there. Your face is very full there. It doesn't.
But you've been heavier than this.
Yeah, you've been heavier, but
I have been heavier than I am.
I don't know. I just saw that picture and I was like, "Is that Eric?"
Yeah,
and
no,
I look
me.
close. Yeah, it's Eric, but it's
me. But that's the Eric that I send out into the world while I stay at home and work. Listen, let's not lose the opportunity because we're definitely not. This definitely is not going to air before after we go to this show. So this airs before we go to this show.
Yeah.
Right. So let's take the opportunity to tell people that we are going to be at the Lake Como Art Festival because we are pretty dang fortunate that the organizers there thought that we were cool enough. Actually, I think now we are riding on the coattails of one Matteo Scalera.
Yeah.
Now I want to say this. It's me getting out of the way so that finally the sunshine can hit Matteo and experience the kind of superstardom that he's experiencing now. But like, I think we're riding on Matteo's coattails these days. You know what I mean? So thank you, Maddie, for being a freaking rock star and having big and strong enough coattails that we can ride in on. But it does not take away from the fact that these guys were kind enough to ask us to come along. So we're going to be at this show. I hear, having never been there before, I hear that it's a great show to be at.
Yeah,
and I didn't know this, but they capped the attendees.
Yeah, at 1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's basically, the whole thing is structured to be a very exclusive event with a limited number of attendees.
Yeah.
And it's all like, there's specific choices for this show. So it's not retailers and stuff like that. It's just artists with their original art. And if they have an art dealer that represents them. But other than that, it's just artists. So
that's pretty cool.
And they kept from what I remember, they kept the ticket price pretty elevated just to, how do you say, just to get rid of the casual attendee.
They're art collectors are coming.
Yeah.
And they're
coming. I mean, last year there was people from the States.
Yeah. Well, that guy Ali who gets commissions from us, he DM'd me. He's going to be there, and he lives in New York. So yeah.
Well, what's wonderful is that we've hit, again, because of Matteo's coattails, we've hit a level of elitism. I've heard this show described, and I was joking around with Matteo about this. I've heard this described as like the James Bond Spectre of comic book shows. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to get us rings that has that Spectre logo on it so we can wear it the
Yeah.
entire weekend. Don't
Hell
light
yeah.
up, Shawn. It's
Too late.
well, I'm trying to keep us as humble as possible, but it just goes to show. I was just referring to that time when Matteo was an infant and I was a much younger man, of just like us hanging out at these shows and like being so excited at the idea somebody would give us a table. Fast
Yeah.
forward to like right now when we're going to a show that's capping people at 1,000 attendees
Yeah, and
because
I mean,
they're trying to keep it as exclusive as possible.
When
We're in
I
a different
look at-
space now, gentlemen.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And when I look at the list of artists that are going, it's insane. Like people I grew up.
Can I stop
Well,
showing this thing now because it's making me feel fucking uncomfortable?
but it's such an impressive list of like legendary talent there. You've got Liberatore, Milo Manara, and like people of that like that amount of history behind them with their work.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Crazy.
to be honest with you, like if the show keeps doing that well, like so much people are gonna be wanting to have a table there. So it might be hard for us one of these the next
get a
2
table.
years to
Yeah.
next
Did you
year
say
to
did
get
you
a table.
did you recognize the way Shawn said us? Right? Like it might be hard for us, but between the line and low key, he's like, it might be hard for you guys.
Wait, you're talking about Matteo.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's the way, like he's like, oh, you know, and if this keeps going and if it keeps being popular, it
You
might be
fuckers.
hard for us.
It might be the first and last time for you guys.
Right.
You
I think that's
realize
what he's
that, right?
saying. You know what I mean?
Hey, I get it.
You guys can barely afford going there.
I didn't
Not
even
just
thought about
not
that.
just monetarily, but also career-wise. You guys can't afford to be there, you know? I think that's what he was saying. I can read
Well,
between
I
the lines.
saw that picture with everyone's headshot on it, and they said, and it was like 40 artists, and then they said they had 40 more to announce. Still, is it normally that many artists?
Well, they have a lot of room. Basically, it's this amazing old villa by the lake, and in the villa, you know, proximity, there's basically a convention space. You know, a small convention center
Mhm.
inside the whole thing, and actually, like the rooms are huge. Like last year, there were some really, really big rooms with just 7 artists. In there.
Oh, okay.
So they
Okay.
have, you know, they have the room,
They have
especially
space,
now.
yeah.
So, with that in
Yeah.
mind, Eric, I have an idea here. I think we should knock out Matteo the morning of the shows, tie him up. I'll just come in as Matteo Scalera.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, we do that to him anyway. What's the difference between
No, but this time I'll come in as Matteo.
now? There's a plot. It's not just us fucking around with Matteo.
Well,
in the
you're
mornings.
talking about a James Bond story, so I'm trying to make a spy
into
movie
it.
out of this. Yeah.
I'm into
Let
it.
me
It's
tell
too
the
much
story
effort, man.
immediately because my kid is gonna be there, so you'll have to keep my kid for the whole day. So it's
Yeah.
not.
That's fine. I
You'll
got
you'll
you.
have
Yeah.
to you'll have to in the beginning of the morning. Matteo keeps forgetting, but he keeps trying to put his kid to his breast, expecting him to suck out milk, and then he forgets. Like, no, wait a second. That's not what I do. That's
Yeah.
not my job.
It's not your job. You have tits. We know that, Matteo, but
Listen,
they
I'm
don't
excited. Oh my god, I can't believe you stepped into that fucking limit. Thank you very much, Maddie. Again, I suspect that a good portion of the doors that are going to open for us moving forward is going to be due to all of the amazing work that you pump out. So,
Agreed.
thank you for the coattails. I'm happy to ride it until the end of time.
Me too.
Okay.
Awesome. Oh, and
I'm
by the way,
excited to be-
since you said
yeah.
it like at least 10 times, what does coattail mean?
Oh fuck, man. I gotta
It's
go.
like you're hitching to someone's wagon. Like
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
You said it 10 times. I don't know what you're saying. Can you please explain it to
Well,
me?
I kept saying yes. I think after
You
the
understand-
third time, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to put it into context. So probably is the, you know,
Yep.
what comes after you
it's
if you're in a
basically
boat.
through your prestige that we are able to get in. You know,
Yeah.
we are the Matteo Scalera entourage moving forward.
You're
we are
very, very welcome.
Yeah, you use a pen to sign only one time and you throw it away. I catch it and I put it on the website so we can sell it for thousands of dollars. That kind of a thing. All right, we're gonna be at that show. That show is in May.
Mid-May.
Ooh, mid-May.
mid-May.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty exciting.
Matteo,
Please go to their website. It was on the screen for a second. I can't bear to see my photo again, so I'm not going to bring it up. So thank you very much. Speaking of me now, right?
yes.
I don't know if anybody knows this, but book
Tell
3
us,
of ARC
Eric.
Athena launched. Right, it launched. You can go to Iconic. I mean, if you haven't been seeing the little crawling thing at the bottom there, you can go to the Iconic Comics website and you'll be able to find it. The first 48 hours, which is we are barreling towards the end of that, but books are priced so that you can jump in on the series so far. It's really super easy to get into. Just go to iconiccomics.com and you'll be able to read the miniseries so far. It's 6 books in total. 3 are out, so a good portion of the story is out there for you to decide whether or not it's something that you really super like. What's good about it is, especially when it comes to 3 books, I think it shows that there is a commitment on our end to continue to publish this thing. It's not just a one-off and I go and disappear for 3 years or whatever the heck. Do the second book and so on. This is going to be coming out almost back to back to back, which is, I think from a customer's perspective, it gives them that comfort that there's a level of consistency from an independent creator that they're supporting. It's different when you have somebody like Marvel or DC or a mainstream publisher coming out with like a mini series, because in a way it's almost built into it, but from an independent creator, like, is this guy going to be around? Is this guy going to fulfill on the promise of a mini series? And I would hope that by issue 3, you realize that we're very serious about getting this thing out. By we, I mean like the creative team, but also Iconic Comics as its exclusive distributor and co-publisher. So I want to call out the team, Giuliano Peritelli, who I immediately thought was Italian, but not, is the colorist. Eric Weathers is the letterer, and Joe Fulton is the editor of the book. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys do everything that you can to make me look good, and yet still I find a way to fuck it up. That said, let's take a look at that launch trailer. I gotta shut Shawn up.
Hey, Shawn, do you think book 4 is gonna come out?
What? There's no book 4.
There's no book 4. I just did all of that shit.
Previously on ARC Athena. The world's audience celebrates as Divana and her social media super team, ARC Athena, are once again victorious. With flair and bravado, they quell an attack from a monstrous horde. Or so they would have you believe. In secrecy and in truth, it is the agents of ARC Poseidon who stand together as a barricade, defending the Earth against deadly threats. An alien craft arrives and attacks the Earth under the command of the tyrannical Empress Queen. With her royal guard at her side, she seeks a power source that guarantees her sovereignty. The world would gather its forces for a counterattack, but faced with such overwhelming terror, it will not be enough. The Empress Queen unleashes her malice against Earth's resistance. First, as an exhibition of might, she deploys the Juggernauts. Then, to vanquish hope, she sends her army. And now, finally, to break their spirit, she will conquer their heroes.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
there we go.
That's some production value right there.
Thank you,
Can you hear
gentlemen.
me?
Thank you for accommodating. Yeah, can you hear me? What'd you say?
Fuck.
Say it
I
again.
was like, Jesus Christ, this sucks. What? But it didn't.
It didn't land very well.
It's actually amazing, man.
Yeah, it
Congratulations.
looks
It's
great.
amazing. And by the way, since we're gonna be looking, we'll talk about that later. But we're talking in one of the previous episodes about looking at new stuff, because we tend by working not to read comics anymore. I would love if in Seattle you would bring ARC ATHENA. I would love to.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to get you guys copies for it about, is that what you're talking about? Like getting the actual copies?
Yeah. I
for
would
the
love
I'll buy it, Eric. I
ARC
wanna
ATHENA
buy
too.
it.
Yeah, I'll buy it. It's not.
Yeah.
Listen, let me
I know
incentivize what
you're not
what
gonna
I'm
buy it,
ultimately
but
trying.
I'm buying it.
You're not gonna buy it. You just say it out loud, but then when we get to
Yeah.
the show, you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna put it in my bag."
Can
I
get it?
insist, Eric. I want to pay for it.
That sounds awful. That's like the most unconvincing shit you've ever said.
And by
Here's what I'm trying to do, right?
Eric, I
I'm trying
insist
to.
on paying for it, and by insisting on paying for it, I mean you're buying us all breakfast. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a weird flex. Listen, what I'm trying to do ultimately, I think in part, but not exclusively, is I'm trying to incentivize you guys to come and do this thing with me, right? Eventually, not immediately, but eventually, because I think you're going to find a version of liberty in doing the self-publishing thing, and I'm happy to do it with you. You guys don't need my help all that much, but if I can offer up any sort of resource as you guys jab step into like the self-publishing and create your own stuff, let's do this thing together, man. It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
And I haven't
want
been
to.
shy about telling you how much work it is.
Yeah.
But it's going to be so much fun. And to me, it just feels like it helps set up the pathway for the future for us as independent creators moving forward. It's a huge investment. It's a lot of like faith-based stuff, but let's go do it, because doing the other thing, I don't think it's going to be sustainable for anybody moving forward, but us specifically, even less sustainable.
Well, yeah. As I told you guys previously, like right after Seattle, I'm gonna be working on my own book, and I don't have a publisher for it yet. Like right now, my goal is to just do it, but there's an absolutely available, a valid option for me. I don't.
Let's do it. We can do it.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. I just think that the only thing that I'm really sort of, if I have any sort of regret, is the fact that we didn't do it sooner. Is the fact that we didn't get our acts together sooner to be like, man, 5 years ago, 7 years ago,
that too.
We could have started down this path of whatever. But because right now the market is, the comic book market is effectively like grinding to a halt, because it doesn't understand what it needs to transform into to be relevant. Right. And so rather than going like, oh, I wonder where it's going to turn. And by the way, that's not me being like ultra negative. That's just me observing. Because at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, what's happening over there isn't up to me. Like, I don't like, I'm only interested in such a way that the way I'm interested in like watching a movie. I'm not really in the movie. I'm like, oh, I'm an audience to it. But I can't point at it and go like, I don't think, based on my experience in that space, you guys have a strategy of how to like what the next level of your evolution is. In the meantime, my friends and I aren't going to wait. My friends and I are going to go do something that feels good to us. It may not be 100% accurate, but at the very least, we're not sitting there hat in hand waiting for somebody to establish it for us, if that makes any sense. We're being more proactive about the whole thing. So
and I might agree with you on the fact that, you can say shit, I was late, but I could have done it earlier. But at the same time, there's not a lot of professional, like it's not that kind of market is not saturated yet. So if you jump on a train now, it's not really late, because a lot of people are not, are not doing it yet.
Well, yeah, I guess so. And there's a lot of factors in there, not everything that you're talking about right now, which is more strategy and pragmatic. For me, the other component was just like, I just wasn't psychologically ready for it yet, right? Like, I just never thought, oh, I can do this. It never came to me that I could do it. And so I started I'll speak for myself. I came up with excuses of like, why not to do it? Life is a little, schedule wise, it's just not attainable. Money wise, it's just not attainable, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I just feel like, if I could jump into a time traveling machine into that, the version of myself that you guys saw in that picture, I'd have been like, listen, you need to drastically reduce the amount of calories that you're putting into your system. And also eat smart calories, not just calories, but also start working on something right now. It may not come to fruition for another 2 or 3 years, but certainly start on it now, because that's not just not just the actual product, because the product ultimately is going to be what it is, right? But it needs to be habitual. You need to, I think that's a lot of the things that hold artists back, is that they're not in the habit of setting themselves up for success, right? They often look externally and go like, oh, I saw that guy doing it and that guy doing it. It seems to work for them, so I'll adopt the thing that they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think if something works for somebody and you can somehow utilize it for yourself and make it part of your toolkit, go right ahead. I'm all for it. But there's also something about getting the reps in for yourself and understanding, oh, that is way too heavy for me to lift, but I'm going to work at the muscle that allows me to lift that, not because I saw somebody else do it, because I put that thing on a rack, put like however many hundreds of pounds on it, and tried to lift it and actually build in the analogy, sort of like the central nervous system, coding that allows me to, like, I know how to lift this now. I know the technique, how to lift this. Some people use the experience of others to say, oh, that's not quite right yet. As an artist, I think we need to go and experience it to be like, oh, that was awful, And it's because we already have a version of that muscle built into us when we're drawing, right? When we're drawing something, we go like, man, that was shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that didn't turn out as well as it did. Well, not Matteo, because Matteo fucking everything that Matteo does on paper, he's like, I don't know if it's gonna get any better than that. That's the best thing that is going to look. I stole that from X, Y, and Z, but the way I do it, I think it's better than anybody, those guys, right? I think that's how Matteo operates now, So excluding Maddie, right? I think as artists, we have this sort of trial and error period to the point where we're like, fuck, I feel really good about doing that. And similarly, when it comes to business and investing in yourself, I think we already have that. We just didn't know, oh, we could utilize that same exact muscle to this now, right? We use everybody else's, like, so I remember, again, using the time that Matteo and I were first hanging out in Seattle together, not too many people were doing what we were doing when it came to conventions. Not a ton. Whereas a group of people setting up under the same banner, right? Being represented by one guy, right? Putting out sketchbooks of our commissions, right? Not many people were doing that. They didn't quite understand. Like, nobody was, not at least not not in a noticeable degree.
Yeah,
right? There was a bunch of guys who were all hanging out together. I remember Guy Jin doing it. I remember, like, obviously, like, under the studio banner,
Boulevard
like,
guys
were
had
doing
their
it.
thing.
Yeah, and so, but never in the capacity that we had tried it. And now, every convention that you go to, it's like,
everywhere.
oh, there's the blue set of banners, there's the red ones, there's the orange ones, there's whatever. And it's like, it's become ubiquitous. What happens is that we were accidentally setting up something for a bunch of people to use as a prototype, or we were using the prototype and now it becomes the game plan. I think similarly, we could do it with this kind of stuff. So I encourage you. My point is, I encourage you guys to come and do this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I use the money as a reason why I can't do it, but I have to figure that. I mean, I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, to me, what's really fascinating is also just the idea of, I might have said that already, so if I did, I apologize in advance. But it's the idea that I think of something, I do it, and then people are just gonna pay to see it. And if this works, like, I have, whatever the number is of people, X number of people, every time buying my stuff, and I'm good. Like, what's better than that? I just have come up with new stories, just put them into paper, and then my relationship is directly with my,
that's what Louis C.K. did a long time ago.
Yeah, that's exactly what Louis C.K. does with comedy. He has his own website, and he does stuff, and he sells
direct to his fans.
And then when he wants to start a new project and he needs the money, he goes on tour. He makes the money that he needs to do the new project, and then he makes a movie, and then he puts it on their website and he makes the money back, and it's constant,
Yeah, it's very smart.
And it's amazing if you think about it.
Yeah, it's great.
But it goes back to what we were talking.
Great if you're not able, and this is the part that scares me the most about when I'll be starting to work on my book, it might be not ideal for everyone being completely like 100% your own boss, because you don't have somebody giving you deadlines
Right.
and stuff, you know.
Right. Right.
So you have to tell yourself, hey, like we need this thing done by in the next 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if a publisher does it, you're like, okay, like there's an editor that tells me that I have to do it in 2 weeks, so I'm gonna tell him yes. And then in order to keep my word with this person, I'm gonna do it. And in that case, you don't have this figure that tells you.
Right.
And
Right. You
so,
got to hold yourself accountable.
yeah. So that's the only thing that I want to test I'll have to test myself on, because
Yeah.
especially because I'm gonna find a publisher or decide what I want to do with the book once the book is done. So I don't have that actual deadlines. So
Yeah,
because
that makes
if
a
I
lot of
did
sense.
a
But it goes
crowdfunding-
back to what I was talking. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier, which is just like establishing the habits, right?
Yeah.
You don't know that you're really poor at keeping yourself accountable until you go and try it. Because right now you know that you have to keep yourself accountable, but
Yeah.
then you get into a space where you're like, you actually have to do it, and you're like, oh, I'm really bad at this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a special sort of like training to go like, oh, I'm really bad at this. What are the systems that I need to now start building so I'm less bad at this? You know what I mean? And I think discovering that sooner rather than later is healthier for the kind of you know. All right,
You
Manny,
skipped.
Yeah, you froze for a second there,
Yeah,
Eric.
you froze
Did I?
for a second.
Yeah.
it's all right. I didn't say anything important. I was going to
No,
say
we
let's
know
roll
that.
over to what Matteo was talking.
Yeah,
Mateo
Matteo.
wanted to take a look at.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh yeah, since a few episodes ago we talked about starting to trying to look at new books and stuff and new artists and blah blah blah. And then a few days after, I saw you, Eric, posted on Instagram a bunch of books that you just bought. So I was like, hey, I should do the same. I didn't look at a lot of books, but I choose like one specifically that it was in the back of my head and I wanted to look at it. So I actually ordered the 3 books, which I have here, but I have the digital version on my computer.
Yeah. Here we go.
I wanna share
By the way, there's
screen.
a screaming
So-
baby. It sounds like somebody's murdering my kid, but she's in the background. I think my wife is trying to deal with it. So forgive it if it comes through the audio.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
No, I don't hear.
Here
So
we go.
basically, the book is Chroma. I don't know how to say it in English if it's the right pronunciation.
Uh-huh.
Chroma by Lorenzo De Felici, who's a fellow Italian artist, and it came out recently for Skybound, which is a section of Image Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, under Kirkman, right?
Under Kirkman, yeah. Which like Lorenzo basically for the last few years worked with Kirkman at a ongoing series called Oblivion Song.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And right after he finished that, he started working on his own books. So he did the story, did everything on this book.
Wow.
Aside from I think the lettering, the other stuff, but I
Nice.
think that art overall, like colors and
Here, I'm gonna take off
story.
this ticker. That way we can appreciate the art in full, right?
yeah.
But you have control of I have
Yeah,
control of having it on screen, but you have control of how to cycle it. So you cycle through the images.
Yeah, I actually I don't want to spoil anything, but at the same time, I want to, the pages are in order, so I'm gonna.
No, we'll just say spoilers to the people. If based on what you've seen, the first 3 images, you really appreciate it, go and buy this book. That way, you're not spoiling it for yourself. I would hate for you to say, "Hey, tune out," but really, if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, look away and cover your ears or whatever the heck whatever you need to do, keep spoilers away. But we want to appreciate this book. So I don't want to deny Matteo the opportunity to cycle through the images. Yeah, so fuck you.
Spoiler, fuck you. All right.
I was saying it nice, you asshole.
Yeah.
With a lot more words, but Italian.
Mine is more direct version. And by the way, I remember you talking about something, Eric, recently about the storytelling that you're trying to make it as essential as possible. Like I'm trying to resume what you said.
Mhm.
This one is not exactly that. So there's a lot of aesthetic to everything. So every some sequences are long, but it's
Can I
all.
address that really quick? I don't have anything against like deconstruction.
Oh yeah, no, I know
I-
that it's not. You don't have nothing. You don't have anything against it. It's
Yeah.
just a choice, a personal choice, and something that you want to
The only
explore
thing-
now.
Yeah, the only thing that I have something against when it comes to deconstruction is like it's being done everywhere now.
Yeah.
And some people know how to do it well. I'm presuming just based on the images that I'm seeing so far, especially inside the thumbnail sidebar there, that this person clearly knows how to hold on to a guy's to audience attention based on the images and obviously the composition and all that kind of stuff. There are plenty of people who do deconstruction and you're like, you don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't
Yeah.
do this.
It's
you know?
just it's just
It's the
aesthetic.
trend,
That's it.
right?
Yeah,
It's the trend, and they saw somebody do it, and they saw, oh, that guy got a job doing that. I'll go and do this too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't do that, Anyway,
No,
continue.
absolutely. I totally agree
Look
with
at
you.
this.
Yeah, this one is.
It's a pretty book.
And he's one of those guys that, despite the fact, I think that this stuff is digital.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look. He found a way to make it fresh so that it doesn't look
Right,
digital,
right.
Wait a second. I do things digital. If I'm reading between the lines of what you're saying again, is Eric does things and it's not fresh. I take
No.
everything personally, by the way.
No,
Yeah,
I never said
yeah.
that. But you're so insecure that that's probably what you're.
That's what I'm hearing. I think that's
that's
this
what
comes
you're
down to.
hearing because of your insecurity.
My
but
insecurity. Okay, continue. Anyway, we're
your
not making it
problem's
about
not
me.
my problem, guys, we're kidding. For anyone who's concerned about
They're
this.
not kidding. They're
Right.
kidding for the sake of this podcast, but in real life, they're like,
So this guy is one of the few guys, along with you, Eric, and another guy, an amazing guy, is Gigi Cabenago. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
That
word.
is digital?
That is digital, yeah. Gigi is all
Holy
digital.
cow.
You can see that in some choices, but he's not trying to hide it when you can see it. Like,
Can't you
it's
stand? Don't you hate that when people are like doing it digital and they make it really obvious that it's digital? You're like,
yeah, but in that
man.
case, I can see that he wanted to be visible and he doesn't care.
Yes.
So there's a
but it's a choice,
reasoning
right?
behind it. It's a choice, yeah.
It's a choice. There's some people who just draw digital and you're like, I know why you're using that weirdo cross-hatching in the background, but it's so off-putting to me.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
this is my Lake Como elitist artist talking right now.
No, it's
Anyway.
true. And also, like, I don't know, when you see everybody, like a lot of people using it in the same way, so you don't
Yes.
even see an original way to use that unoriginal, pattern.
Right.
I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck, man? There's
Yeah.
other ways to do it,
Yeah,
But-
it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it worked for that guy, it must work for me, and you're like, that's probably true, but it's clear that that guy did that first, and you're not even innovating, you're just like regurgitating,
Yeah.
Holy cow! This
And also the colors are really simple. I mean, the old basic, the whole thing behind the story is there's a world, this town that is totally black and white, and outside is danger. There's a forest, and outside there's colors. So they're
Wow.
not
what a
like,
great
they
narrative.
can't- What?
No, I said what a great narrative. What a great
Yeah.
thing to like. Yeah.
Yeah, there's he said, like, at the end of the book there's there's some words from the author, and he said that the whole story origin was some concept about colors and black and white,
Nice.
Mm.
and he put that and make it become an actual story, but
Yeah.
it was just a series of concepts.
Holy cow! You know what's
on,
strange? And I have an appreciation for the colors because obviously there's a lot of work that went into. Is he coloring it himself? Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that went into making sure something in black and white and gray sort of like separate, right, from foreground, middle ground to background. Do you know how I'm imagining this? Is I'm seeing it all in black and white, minus all the color or minus all the grayscale, and how good looking this book is.
Yeah. And
color is an
not a
enhancement, right?
single line is wasted. Like
Yeah.
everything is where it's supposed to be, and it's fucking. I love this way of
It's informational, right? Like
Yeah,
it's really great.
yeah.
Wow.
And how many
Do you
issues
think
are out?
that
Right
crack
now
is
3, and the 4th is coming out soon. But
do you
each
think
book
those
is
sound
a, is
effects?
a
Oh, sorry.
sorry. I was just about to say each book, since because of this storytelling that takes its time.
Mhm.
Like the books are like 50 pages, 60 pages.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I said 50, 60. I never counted them, but I think they're like around 50, I suppose.
That is awesome.
And yeah,
What were you saying about the sound effects, Eric?
I was gonna say, do you think those are digital? They probably are, right?
Yeah.
the sound effects.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
go back to the previous page with the guy breaking through the egg. Like that looks so good.
Yeah.
It doesn't take me out of it at all.
No.
This guy's fucking amazing.
I wonder
And
whose sound effect pack, that font pack. Like that looks so cool. This
You
guy's great.
might be drawing them, just digitally drawing them.
You think so?
I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's possible.
It looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they might be hand drawn.
Wow. We're just gonna sit here and look at a comic book for the next 10, 15 minutes.
yeah, man, it's
It's a
yeah,
pretty
sorry
book.
about that, but
This
wanna
is
get
fun.
this.
same time
This is
I
fun.
get mesmerized as looking at it, and then I forget that I have to go forward the pages. But
So
yeah, it's,
you're enjoying the story, Matteo?
yeah. The story is really nice. Is how do you say when it involves you, like
Yeah.
involving,
Engages you. Yeah.
engaging? Yeah.
Yeah. What is how are you guys still
Whoa.
the same way these days? I presume to be when you were younger, which was like you bought books because it was art. Are you now like you pick up art? And for me, I'll speak for myself. Whenever I pick up a book and see a book like this, I'm all like, wow, this is pretty to look at. But I'm always like, okay, I got to read it, because I almost
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of artists now who are really, really good at their craft, of just like the basic draftsmanship and how good they draw and how well they render. And now it's almost like how well does their art complement the story? You guys ever
Right.
do that? Like I jump right, and that's the reason why I love that World's Finest book so much, because like as good as Dan Mora is, I was like, I wonder if he's drawing the thing that's gonna make it even better. You know what I mean? I wonder how the story holds up. Like I'm in that space now where I'm like, man, I'm excited to read this book because the art is so good,
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
go back one page, Matteo.
And the opposite is
That
also
top
true.
panel.
Look at the
is
first
great. That
panel.
first panel is amazing.
Yeah. But even this one, like the third panel, when you see you understand everything there, but it's just three small objects and three corners.
Yeah,
And it's it. You totally understand the situation we're in.
Yeah, this is great. I hope this is
And
good.
by the way, look, going back to what you were saying, like 30 seconds ago, Eric. Like, to be honest with you, when I was younger, there's some books that I loved that weren't necessarily, I didn't love them because of the art. There's the story was really, engaging. I would really
I'll
like.
tell you my first comic that I loved was Born Again, the Frank Miller Mazzucchelli stuff. But at the time I was very young and I was really into like Todd McFarlane and that like early Image stuff. And I thought I remember saying I liked reading the book over and over and over, but I thought the art was crude. Now I say that then that's not how I feel now. It was
I think
over
it's still how
time.
you feel now.
No. It's masterful art, but it was just I think I was just too immature to understand and appreciate the art. But the storytelling is what affected me.
Yeah.
So yeah, just going on what Matteo said, it was one of my favorite books, but I didn't love the art in it at the time.
Yeah. I still find that fascinating. I don't know if you guys feel the same in that you can do that, be so impacted by somebody back in the day and be dismissive of their art. And then something happens in your sort of journey as an artist and becoming a better artist and becoming a better draftsman, where suddenly you're like, why the heck did I not love this?
Yeah.
You know, like why the
Yeah.
heck did why am I not so into this? Like with Frank Miller and Dark Knight, I was immediately hooked. I was like, I understood
Me
it.
too.
But with something like Year One, or potentially even something like this, right?
Yeah.
Like if I saw this as a kid, I wouldn't have an appreciation for this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I guess it's similar. Taste is just hopefully
just
it's
not
an
like-
evolution of things.
Yeah, I think as a kid, I just really wanted in your face, super slick and glossy, exaggerated, like
Yeah,
balls
yeah.
to the
You look at
wall.
different stuff. I see the same with collectors. Sometimes they like one thing. Like normally collectors, they don't understand. For example, Zafino. Like
Right. Yeah. I've heard.
because
I've heard people say that.
they have a way of looking at stuff that sometimes is really, you say, childish. I don't want to insult the people that give me
I
money.
think you
I
just
would
did.
say
You
childish.
just told those people fuck off. I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to say childish. Matteo said childish, but I'm not going to say childish. I think
Right
it's
there
just-
goes the fucking coattails, Matteo. Thanks
Dude,
for
that
nothing.
fourth
buddy.
panel is crazy amazing.
The one where they face to face.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
lighting on
Yeah.
that is just that's so beautiful.
Yeah, but
Fucking
even
great.
look at the third one, the shading on the guy's face. On
Yeah,
the left.
yeah,
That that black that runs through his face.
yeah,
Is,
yeah. I'm gonna get this. You got me.
Sean's convinced.
You got me.
He almost bought my book with the money in hand, but he said, "Nope, forget that shit. I'm getting this."
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna get them both, Eric.
I don't think you will, Sean. I don't think you will.
yeah.
So, hey, Eric, by the way, like I wanted to ask you when you played the trailer for the third book. So now I might have asked you already earlier, so sorry if I did. But
It's okay.
now you're not crowdfunding it anymore. You're doing
Yeah.
it with this distributor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And the second one, did you crowdfund it or
I did. I did.
Okay, okay.
The second one is where I learned where I don't want ever. If I can help it, I don't want to crowdfund anymore.
You know, Eric, Matteo just basically told you I did
Yeah.
not support your crowdfunding endeavors. You're not that important to me. That's what Matteo said.
Yeah, I think that's what he was
Yeah,
saying. But it's
absolutely.
okay. It's
I
Let's
did
just stay
though.
friends.
I have
I saw the val. I think of Matteo as like a return on investment friendship. You know what I mean? Like okay.
Oh, by
so
the
he's
way,
an-
there's
he's
gonna
an
be
asshole.
a big. Sorry to interrupt. Just for a second.
go.
There's gonna be a big spoiler because this is the end of the book. I don't know if you
All right.
wanna.
All right. No, I mean it's up to you. I mean, you told people to go fuck off. You know. So
Okay, so the little guy dies.
shit.
There it is.
You're fucking awful. That's-
I even spoiled the spoiler.
Yeah, you
I
did.
said it before showing.
You're
the
the worst.
You're
The
the
worst.
shittiest storyteller. I can't wait for your comic book to come out with the same kind of storytelling sequences that you're just doing right
He's
now.
gonna
which is-
tell the whole story in the first 2 pages, then meander for 4 issues.
And in the end, somebody dies. Let me get back to my point about Matteo being a return on investment friendship, right? Which is like, I see Matteo and he insults me
if you
almost
want,
on
sorry,
the,
you
on
can
the
close
daily.
this window.
All right. He insults me almost on the daily, but I take it like an abused boyfriend because I know that he's going to just get me into so much stuff that I have no business getting the opportunity to get into.
That's a good observation.
He doesn't buy my books ever. You know what I mean?
No,
Every time I
no,
show him,
No.
I show him something from 3 years ago, and he's like, "Oh, this just came out." He says it like that too, like a
Right. He
freaking
has no
caveman.
idea.
Oh, this just came out. I'm like, no, dude.
You
this
know what,
was like
Eric?
3
You
years.
might want to check your Instagram. I don't think he's following you.
I don't think so either.
No, I just said that I saw that you bought some books. So
Yeah.
of course I follow.
It randomly came up on.
Now
his
that was one of
Explore
those
tab.
recommended follows, and Mateo's like, "You don't know me."
There's this guy Eric. Eric
Canete.
Canete.
Okay, listen, that was amazing. I love doing that. Maybe that's something that we can continue to do. Just take a couple minutes during the day, during our podcast, to take a look at some amazing art. It doesn't have to be comic books, just stuff that
I think it's a good idea.
that gets
Yeah,
us.
whatever we want to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen any of the stuff from 40 Days in the Desert? I'm asking a stupid question. I suspect that you guys have seen it. It's a
40
Mobius
Days
book.
in the
Have you
Oh,
seen
Desert?
the old Mobius book. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a Mobius book. It's called 40 Days in the Desert, and it's been translated into a bunch of different languages already. But it's effectively him just like stream of consciousness, just drawing and putting some tiny bit of narrative that ultimately doesn't amount to anything. It's just like it's freaking amazing.
And
Maybe
it's all
that's one I'll bring up.
illustrations.
Single panel is like all of this big, but I'll bring it up next time.
Yeah, that's
This was
a
amazing,
beautiful
gentlemen.
book. That is a beautiful book.
I've got to go and see what's on fire outside of my door. Effectively
Okey-dokey.
saying I need to go help out my wife. So we're going to end this broadcast. Matteo,
Awesome.
thank you so much for being so awesome that you bring us along everywhere that you go.
Yeah,
Shawn,
thank you.
It's my pleasure, guys.
thanks for anyway, we're going to go and just kidding. Shawn, thank you so much for having both Matteo and I on almost on the weekly. I appreciate you,
I
buddy.
love
We're going to
it.
be able to see
Okay, I
each
thought it
other.
was a joke because you said thank you so much for.
It was a
Anyway.
joke. It was a joke.
Okay, it was a joke.
All right.
We're going to see each other in a few days. I'm excited for it. Let's go have some breakfast, some good dinner.
Yeah.
And here we go. Here's
Awesome.
the outro. 1, 2, 3.
This is the INKPULP podcast. This is the INKPULP podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.
Peace.